Howdy folks, this morning's soap is brought to us by TFS. This one here is called Sottozero. I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyhow, it is a menthol type soap. I'm going to follow the shave up off camera with some Duke Cannon ice cold aftershave balm. And this container is a 6-ounce container, if you're wondering about the size, because I think it also comes in a 2-ounce size. And of course going to have the Taconic Preshave oil. Lost train of thought there for a second. Another one of my usual suspects is Crown King alum block complete with rubber band this morning, and the unscented witch hazel from Stirling that's mentholated. And the shaver of the day is the this is the YAQI Slant. And I didn't see the previous video. This particular handle is a 2-piece handle, and it is hollow except for, of course, the end of the handle there is capped off. But it's considering how about 4 inches or whatever, it doesn't weigh a whole lot considering how big it is. Blade of the day is going to be a Derby blade, Derby Extra, and this one here came out of a 10-pack Derby. Got the lather whipped up here in a small bowl here that's got grooves in the bottom, help hold the soap. This one here, I think this model here, Omega Boar Brush, is a 10077. I'll have information down below. And as usual, there's what it looks like there on the bottom. Already put a hot towel to the face morning for a pre-shave routine, and I'm going to go ahead and use the couple of pumps of the pre-shave oil here. Get started. Hoping that the me using a Derby blade will change a little bit of the shave feel of this particular shaver. It's an aggressive shaver. A lot of blade feel. I definitely feel the blade. And hoping that maybe a Derby blade will change up just a tad bit of the shave feel, where it's a little bit smoother. Last shave I used a Treat DuraSharp, which I've used before. Got good shaves with it. It's sometimes you'll get a shaver that is not quite a good match for a blade, and so a lot of trial and error sometimes. And with an aggressive shaver, you might go through a few blades before you find one that's going to work well for you. So I'm kind of hoping that this does the trick here. Otherwise, I'll be going through a few more, but this will probably be the last one I'll put on video unless I find the blade here pretty soon. At any rate, it's for me, this is the fun part when you get a shaver where it takes a little bit of effort to find a blade that's going to work well for you. And it's an aggressive shaver, so you are kind of trying to find a smooth blade. Could be quite a bit of a challenge because there might not be a blade out there to meet that smoothness that you're looking for, because it is the aggressive shaver. Mint to menthol. This particular setup, as it goes for a scent, is it's not over the top. There's enough mint and menthol in there for you to pick it up. You can smell it, but I don't feel it's over the top or anything like that. So scent strength for me is probably about middle of the road. And the mint, if you're not a big fan of menthol, the mint, in my opinion, takes the edge off of the menthol. In other words, I pick up more mint than I do menthol. Yeah, every once in a while I catch a whiff there. But for the most part, it's mint. Alright, here we go. This is what this beast looks like. I tell you what, that blade gap there, it can be intimidating. The first time I remember seeing a razor with a blade like that, with that kind of, I guess you might say, gap and sticking out like that, wasn't too sure I was going to make it through the shave with it. There is something that kind of crossed my mind just now, because so far, maybe against the grain, it might make more of a difference. Right now, not so much, as it goes for being smooth, being a smoother shave. My pre-shave routine, this Taconic pre-shave oil is, most oils are runny. I mean, that's just how it is. But Stirling sells beard oil that doubles as a pre-shave oil. And that beard oil slash pre-shave oil is a little thicker than this pre-shave oil I'm using today. I'm kind of wondering, a thicker pre-shave oil, in other words, that's where you might come in handy with a shaver like this. With the idea that that thicker pre-shave oil will be, I guess you might say, an extra added layer of protection for this blade, and maybe it'll be a little bit smoother. Then, of course, there's the thought that if you have to go through all that with a shaver, maybe the shaver's just not for you. That would be a thought. It has crossed my mind. But sometimes, you know, if you bought very many shavers before in the past and you bought it, well, now you bought it and you feel compelled to use it, figure out how to use it. Sometimes you can figure out how to use it, and in other words, not a total waste of money, and sometimes you don't. And of course, reselling it, you know, sometimes it's hard for some folks, like especially for me. If I really don't like it, it's not for me. Sometimes I have a hard time selling it to somebody because I feel like, you know, I already know that this thing is tough to use, and going to sell it to somebody else with me knowing that, sometimes I just don't feel quite right doing that. So in other words, I end up giving it away in hopes that they can make good use of it. I think I can figure out how to use this one here. It's just, it's a bit of a challenge because it is aggressive. I mean, I shave with shavettes and straight razors, so I'm used to a little bit of blade feel. And of course, it could be that maybe my angle is just not right with this. I would say with this particular shaver, if you were to use two across the grain passes, in other words, ear to nose, nose to ear, at least for me, I probably would get close to a BBS shave just by doing that. Beard reduction so far seems like it's about like it was last time. Third pass would be more of a pickup pass. There's not a whole lot left. It's pretty efficient, at least for me it is. Your experience could be somewhat different, but it is an aggressive shaver. Boy. Not very often I run across a shaver quite this aggressive. Like I said, I can think of, well, two that I can think of right off the top of my head. One is the other one that I'm thinking of doesn't quite fit in this category. It's an adjustable. And I got this a while back, and it was a collaboration in between YAQI and Q Shave, I think it was. and an adjustable shaver, and I got the first version. From what I understand, the second version worked out a lot better, but it was like the most aggressive adjustable shaver I've ever had. It's the only one I have like that too. I kept it. I mean, I finally figured out if you adjust the angle eventually, you'll get better shaves with it. It doesn't feel quite as aggressive. But, man, first time I used that, I was in for a surprise, all the way down to the first setting. Because I usually start further up the ladder. I usually start towards the top or at the top of the aggressiveness, and then I work my way down. And I was all the way down to 1. And still, I could feel like it was kind of aggressive. That shaver was not going to be for most people. It's just too aggressive. But I figured out at what angle to adjust everything to, and the shaves were a lot smoother. On setting 1. It took a few shaves to get to that point where I had to figure out how to adjust that angle to the point where it would be a lot smoother. So I guess you might say it was an angle that I'm not accustomed to using. A lot of feedback with this shaver though. I can already tell though, that's the reason why one of the choices of using an aftershave balm. My face is it's going to be a little bit sore today. Aftershave balm yesterday helped out quite a bit. And today, like I say, I already got it set up ready to go because I kind of figured it would be. Yeah, this shaver won't be for everybody. If you like aggressive shavers, you know, this one here is definitely should be on your list. And I mentioned it before that, in other words, you wouldn't have to buy the whole setup, that you can get the head. And I think when it was on sale yesterday, it was $4.86 or something like that. Relatively inexpensive, not a whole lot of money. Probably pay almost as much in shipping. But in other words, because, you know, if you've already got plenty of handles. But this handle here is pretty nice. I mean, in that it's I'm trying to think. Outside of a vintage Gillette, this is the only shaver I have that's a 2-piece handle. In other words, good for traveling if you can find a case for it. Break it on down. Base feels pretty good. I mean, as goes for soft. Cheeks are smooth. There's not any whiskers left to be had. I got a little bit down here, just a little bit, but not much at all. It's pretty efficient. Like I say, if I was to switch up my routine on the third pass, it would have been a pickup pass and a lot shorter, and I would have been done and baby smooth, that's for sure. A little bit of stinging right through here. Most of the stinging is going to be on my neck. My neck doesn't handle aggressive shavers all that well sometimes, especially ones like this. I've had some in the past, but that aggressive, but a lot smoother to shave with. And it could be, and I have not been able to put my finger quite on top of it, whether or not if the part of what I'm feeling is perhaps that the blade is vibrating a little bit. I'm not 100% sure about that. It's just something that I'm picking up. In other words, there's something in the back of my mind that says there's what makes this shave a little bit more unusual. So maybe that the blade is vibrating. Matter of fact, I think I'll go ahead and take this part. I don't think I ever mentioned before, but it looks like it's kind of painfully obvious that the ends of the blade are covered, so you don't have to worry about catching the end of that blade on your nose or anything like that if you're shaving underneath your nose. This is what the base plate looks like. Like I said, it looks like, if you will, just somebody just took it and gave it a good twist. And it doesn't matter. There's the blade, by the way. And it won't matter, whether you, which way you put it. It'll all come together. Animals going wild again this morning. Maybe they'll be quiet in a moment. At any rate, that's what the cap looks like. It's pretty small in comparison to, I guess you might say, what we're normally seeing. But definitely it's a very efficient shaver. Go ahead and put on the witch hazel here. Nice cooling effect. Like I said, the soap itself, it's not over the top on the mint and the menthol. So if it'd be pleasant for some folks to use. If menthol is, in other words, something that you don't quite enjoy, but maybe the mint will take the edge off of it, and you know that'll change how you might view it. My next shave, I plan on using Cryogen, and from Chisel Face. So in other words, stark contrast, because this cooling effect, from the soap is, just kind of a mild cooling effect, and then the scent is, not real strong. And especially when you compare it to Cryogen, I just opened up the tub yesterday, and it's like, wow. I mean, it is strong. It is, for me, it's awesome. I love it. I hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe, and smooth shaves to you.